Hey guys, I'm Sean McAnally.
John Hall.
Today we want to talk about hormonal balance, autophagy, and apoptosis. How important it really is for all those things to work in sync. And, when your hormones aren't right, all kinds of things go bad. I mean, it can change your mood. I mean, it can change how you feel. It can change how you look. I mean, all kinds of things.
It can change how you're treated.
Yeah, that's very true. We won't dig into that anymore because we just won't. But hey, Dr. Hall, tell us how important this is and how we can keep this in balance.
Okay, well, the thing about hormones, we talk about the endocrine system, and we think about the various glands, and hormones are produced by glands, and the idea of hormones is that they have target organs. They get into the bloodstream, they go to all different parts of the body, whereas an exocrine gland like sweat gland is producing sweat that's right there. So anyway, but now they realize that just about every tissue of the body has hormonal functions. Bones, skin, everything's almost, at least, but the professional, if you will, professional hormonal system or the endocrine system, it is involved in everything. And like I said, when the hormones are out of balance, everything's out of balance. So it's not surprising when we talk about autophagy or the natural cleansing and renewal of cells, or apoptosis, the programmed cell death. They are affected by the hormone too. So for example, you have insulin, and everybody knows about insulin. Well, the opposite of insulin basically is glucagon. So the pancreas will produce an insulin, which is transporting glucose and getting it out of the bloodstream and into the cells. Glucagon, if we run out of glucose, then it's producing glucose to get into the cell. So they basically, there's that yin and yang, they're kind of opposites. So insulin, for example, and there's a growth factor, insulin-like growth factor, so they kind of function the same way, but insulin tends to be an inhibitor of autophagy, and as one would expect, glucagon tends to enhance the process of autophagy, which is kind of interesting. So there's the hormones are kind of helping to control, because it's like anything else, autophagy can get out of balance and out of whack, and we have all kinds of problems. So the insulin and glucagon, and we think of autophagy as glucagon driven. That's the reason when glucagon, one of the big initiators of that is fasting. And so when you're all out, you're out of glucose.
Yeah. Then
glucagon starts pumping and all that, and that's what stimulates, one of the main stimulators of the autophagy in the first place. So we know that glucagon stimulates autophagy. Well, insulin helps inhibit autophagy.
Right.
Well, the sex hormones, estrogen has been shown to have, and also apoptosis too. So apoptosis, cortisol or one of the stress hormones, if you will, helps to induce the process of apoptosis, or programmed cell death. And estrogen tends to work against or be an anti-apoptotic hormone. Testosterone can do both. Actually, estrogen has been shown to protect neurons and other cells from abnormal apoptosis, and testosterone protects beta cells, the beta cells that produce insulin from apoptosis. But excessive testosterone can cause apoptosis of neural cells. So if you have too much testosterone, that can do it can do just the opposite. So it's always the same way. I mean, the same thing can cause both. It can initiate or inhibit depending on how much or whatever's going on. So that's the reason you always want balance with everything. You want balance with autophagy, apoptosis. You want balance with your hormones too. So this regulation of the hormones is a real problem, and it affects both autophagy and apoptosis.
So Dr. Hall, I got a serious question. So is that why somebody might be considered a dumb jock. They got too much testosterone, kills the neurons. Is that what creates a dumb jock or what?
Well, it may contribute to it.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Probably doesn't help. And the fact that they haven't cracked a book open probably in 20 years.
I got you.
That may have something to do with it.
I got you. Anyway, hey, back on a serious note, go ahead, doctor. Couldn't help myself.
So anyway, the point is, the hormones definitely play roles in both autophagy and apoptosis. So
Gotcha.
you want the endocrine system functioning properly, you want it in a balance. So there are a lot of things to do, and we're into nutrition around here. So I want to talk a little bit about how nutrition is important in regulating hormonal balance. And it just is. So there's some essential nutrients that are involved in that, and we're talking about the minerals, some of the vitamins, all kinds of phytochemicals. So phyto means plants, so the chemicals that are in our plant foods, and even healthy fats, so omega-3 fats, especially fatty acids especially, are really important.
You know, all the hormones are made from cholesterol anyways.
Yeah, so we're talking lipids already anyway.
Yeah.
So that's really very important. So there's lifestyle factors too. Exercise and getting enough rest and all that are important, but nutrition is really critical too. So vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B6, these are three that they're really big in the synthesis of the hormones and in the metabolism, and then in the signaling pathways. We always talk about pathways all the time, but they're chemical pathways in everything, in every process going on. So that has to be functioning properly. Zinc, for we're talking minerals, zinc, magnesium, and selenium, and I'm going to talk about zinc and magnesium here in just a few seconds about how we're a little bit low on that, a lot of us. But anyway, they're important in all of that. Zinc's important for the production and secretion of insulin and testosterone and thyroid hormones and all that. And so phytoestrogens. So there are plant estrogens that are very similar to estrogens that we think of as the female, one of the major female hormones. Men have estrogen too. We have a little bit of that. And but that's important. So anyway, there are a lot of phytoestrogens out there that they're not nearly as strong, but they have some of the same effect. They may be 100th as strong as the estrogen that are being produced in the human body, but they're important and all that in maintaining a balance. And they're like polyphenols are really important for the. And again, we talk about oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. Polyphenols are really important as antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. That's always affecting. Those two things, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, are affecting everything. They certainly affect the endocrine system too. So those are important. So nutrition's important. The problem that we have is that there are a lot of things going on. Number one, our Western diet is pathetic. Most of us are eating really lousy food. Even those of us who are trying to eat really well, trying to eat lots of fruits and vegetables and all that, we're not getting the nutrients we're used to. The soils are being depleted. It used to be illegal to even say that. I don't know if it still is or not, but we know that the nutrients in the soils are a fraction of what they were even 50, 60 years ago. And then when you talk about the way we harvest foods, the way we process them, the way we store them, the way we cook them and all that, and preserve, we're just not, even if we're eating as healthy as we can, we're just not getting what we used to get out of the same amount of food and all that. And for example, 75% of the US population, and this is everybody, this is 1 year and older, so basically by the time you're eating solid foods, 75% of the United States population is not eating the amount of fruit we're supposed to. 80% is not getting the recommended intake of vegetables. So number one, we're not eating what we should.
Right.
Number two, if we were, we're not getting the nutrients that we need to. That's the reason getting really good supplementation is really, really important. Yeah. Magnesium, we're even a little bit low on vitamins. We're not really that bad on vitamins, but we tend to be pretty low on the fat soluble vitamins. But there's inadequacies. We're not really super low where you get diseases, but we have inadequacies in so many of our vitamins and our minerals too, where we're not as healthy as we should be. We're not as energetic as we ought to be. We're just not doing as well as we should.
Right.
And for example, magnesium, I mentioned magnesium and zinc just a minute ago. 61% of adults in the United States have inadequate amounts of magnesium in our diet. 12% zinc, so that's not, but that's still 1 out of 8 are not getting enough zinc in our diet. So we're just not getting the minerals. Canada did a study about 2003, I think, and they looked at several vegetables, and they were looking at minerals, several minerals, and they found that there was about 1/8, so about 12% of the minerals that were in those vegetables that there were in 50 years earlier, in the early 50s, about the time I was being born. So now it's gone down by over 80%. So they just don't have the nutrients in them that they need. So it's really important to get the right nutrients, but we think that supplementation with really good supplements is important too.
Well,
obviously it is.
Yeah, you have to, because you just can't get it in the food. You know, some of the things that you said just got me thinking, like, you know, insulin, you said, you know, it kind of prevents autophagy from happening and whatnot. And then you mentioned chronic inflammation. Well, then you'll read a study that says sugar causes chronic inflammation. What does sugar do? Raises your insulin. So, I mean, it's right there in front of you, you know, and then like the nutrients aren't there. I read something not too long ago, and I think I've said it before, but like, it takes like 30 oranges to get the equivalent amount of vitamin A we got in 1 orange back in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a big difference, you know, and all of these things just being out of whack just contribute. You can just see a chain reaction. Problems going down the way. That's good, Dr. Hall. We appreciate you sharing that with us. And guys, really what we're after here is just trying to help everyone that hears this to benefit so that they can just have a better quality of life. And just, you know, you do what you can, you know, hear what you do your own research, and just look into it. Magnesium, being low on magnesium. I mean, it's been shown that being low on magnesium makes it hard to sleep at night. You know, taking magnesium supplements could help you to sleep better.
And rest is very important.
Very, very important. I mean, it can actually almost drive you crazy. You know, I mean, I think that's one of the minerals that they actually give people that are struggling mentally a lot of times is magnesium, because they're deficient in it. So there's a lot to be said about these inadequacies, as Dr. Hall said, because it's just hard to get enough. I mean, vitamin D, that's one of the vitamins, fat soluble you were talking about, hard to get. That's made from, we can make it ourselves. The only vitamin we can actually make ourselves is vitamin D. How important is it if we were designed to be able to make it ourselves? Probably pretty important. And they say most people spend 1% nowadays of the time outside in the sun, which is required. We require the sun to make vitamin D, as we did 40, 50 years ago. I mean, we were out in the sun all the time. That's where work happened most of the time. And now it's just total opposite of that, you know. So, I mean, it's needless to say, it's kind of obvious when you step back and look. A lot of the problems we have really just from lifestyle and food. It's just not how it should be.
It makes sense.
It does. Hey guys, we hope that you learned something, like I said. We hope that you live the best life you can. Until next time, I'm Sean McAnally.
John Hall.
This is For the Health of It.